Good morning from paradise. It is another beautiful day here in Northwest Florida. Hope y'all are having a fabulous morning. It's pretty quiet out here this morning, so I thought I'd get out and shoot another video outside. I love it. I love to eat my breakfast outside and hear all the birds singing and just enjoy the flowers and the plants and all of that stuff before it gets hot. Boy, it was a scorcher yesterday. Oh my goodness, I think it got up to like 96 degrees or something like that. So today's topic is $20 a month real estate investments, how to fractionally fund your way to monthly passive income. And I want to break this down just a little bit because I've had a lot of questions about, what exactly is fractionally funding, what exactly is it that I'm doing. And I want to start by talking a little bit about investors. And right now, my fractionally funding projects, I am funding short-term fix and flips. And for those of you who may not know what that is exactly, is real estate investors all over the United States, they go out and they are looking for ugly properties. And when I say ugly properties, it doesn't really mean the physical term, although it can. They're looking for properties that they can buy for wholesale and doll them up, pretty them up, improve them, fix them, in other words, and then turn around and either one, sell it to a retail buyer and profit off of that, or some of them buy and hold. They fix the property and they hold it and they use it as rental income. So how on earth do these investors do this? All over the United States. They might be here in Florida and they're buying properties all over the United States. Well, there's different marketing tactics that I got in a conversation last night, and I think it was misunderstood a little bit. There's different ways that investors find properties. But anyways, obviously when they come in and they're investors, so they're there to make money. Now, some of them do an awful job, in my opinion, but most of them are on the up and up. They want it to be a win-win situation. So they know, they go into a project, they know what their bottom line is, they know how much it's going to cost to fix this property, and they know their profit margin, how much they want to make. So that's how they determine how much they offer someone. So if you're expecting an investor to pay you retail for your property, you're sadly mistaken. That's not going to happen because they have to make a profit. That's what investors do. They invest their money so that they can make a profit. And, it doesn't matter, there's a lot of investors out there. Some only deal in foreclosures. Some are part of the good old boy network, and their friends will call them from the bank and tell them that there's a property that's fixing to go under foreclosure. Let me just tell you something, folks. Banks aren't going to lose money. So you may be thinking you're getting a great deal, but don't feel sorry for the bank because the banks definitely get their money. Remember when I talked to you about the mortgages, how the big bulk of the interest is paid on the front end of the loan? Within that first 7 years, yeah, the banks are not going to lose. They're smart. They've got it set up for that in their benefit and in their favor. So anyway, so you've got investors all over the United States, and, eventually their money runs out, and they have to use other people's money. And there's different varieties of different types of funding that is available, but what I'm involved in is what's called private lending. Sometimes they find a property and the owner needs to close really fast, needs some quick cash, or they need some quick cash. And when I say short term, typically those are 90 days and less. But for my intents and purposes, I'll allow all the, depending on the project, I'll allow all the way up to 12 months. And then, of course, they can have an extension, but it's going to cost them because my money is very valuable. I want to be making sure that my money is making money 24/7 for me. So anyways, there's investors all over, and they need a steady stream of access to cash, so that when they go out and find these properties all over the United States, they know they can make a phone call, and within the hour, within the day, 24 hours, or within a couple of days, whatever the situation is, they know that they can be wire transferred, or they can write a check, and they'll have the money that they need to close on that property, and they'll have the money that they need to fix the property. And some have a lot of skin in the game, some don't. Some are just very talented, and they put all the sweat equity into these projects. And so short term, again, typically it's about 90 days or less is what it takes a typical fix and flip. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but anyways, for my intents and purposes, short term means 12 months or less. So I will loan someone my money, and then they pay it back with interest. And so now let's talk about fractionally funding. Instead of me as an investor having to put all of my money inside one project and hope and pray that nothing happens to that. I live here in Florida, so, we have a propensity for storms, and every once in a while we'll get a hurricane, thank goodness, and the good Lord that we haven't been hit here where I live in a very long time, and never since I've been here. So I'm really grateful for that, but that's not saying that it can't happen. So for me, to minimize risk, I've got my money in projects in other cities, in other areas, in other states across America. And I can do that even though I live here in Florida, because what I have is I have a first lien position on that mortgage. That means if something happens and we have to foreclose on that property, I'm the first one that's going to get paid. Okay, that's what that means. So anyways, we have short-term fix and flips. They go in, they fix the property, and then they put it up for sale, or they put it up for rent. Sometimes they do a cash out, and that means this is something else that I should have said earlier. A lot of times these properties, they need so much work that there's no way that they would qualify for a traditional home loan, a traditional mortgage. They can't get backing from a bank because the property is in such bad shape. But these investors are very well qualified. They know what they're doing. And so they need to get money from another source, and that's where private money comes in. Sometimes there's soft money and hard money loans that they get, and they have to pay a little bit more for that money. Typically, I get anywhere from 10 to 15%, depending on the risk that I feel is involved in a project and how long it's going to go on, and the experience of the investor, and all of those different things. So anyways, it's a really wonderful, for me personally, I happen to love it because, like I've said before, right now, and I'm looking at a couple of more this week, but right now I've got my money in 12 homes, and I only do single family homes right now. Not to say that a little bit later on, now I am looking at some of Grant Cardone Capital, some of that stuff, but right now I'm only doing single family homes. And so in my group, we're fractionally funding, and what that means for some of you, now for us it's a little bit different, but for some of you who might be interested in getting involved in fractionally funding, you can join our team for as little as $20 a month and get in on learning how to fractionally fund and actually being rewarded financially for doing so. And what that is our group gets together, and I find these projects out here, and we put our money together and we fractionally fund those projects. And then when we get paid out, 90% of all of the interest earned on those projects is split equitably among all the sponsors. So it's a win-win deal. It's a lot of fun, and it's teaching you, it's an affordable option for everyday people to get involved in real estate at a very low entry point, and in my opinion, low risk. Now there's always risk. Again, there's risk that, a home can have to be, they can't pay the bill, and something else that I forgot to mention also is they have to make at least interest payments each month. That's one of the requirements. So typically they're making interest payments for the ones that we do personally. Sometimes we go in with a lot of other investors, and they have their own rules and regulations, and there's quite a few different platforms that I use that I've vetted over the last couple of years. And my 2-year track record right now, it's been about 10.4% per year APR, which is not like a ton of money, but it's stable. And like I said, it's low risk, and I don't have to do very much at all. I mean, basically, I just loan them my money short term, and they pay it back plus interest. And I get to pick the properties that I want to invest in. You know, I can pull them up on the internet and see, you know, what the information is that's available out there. I know who the investor is and all of that stuff. So anyways, just wanted to hop on here today again to kind of give you an overview of fractional funding real estate, and you know, to talk to you about fix and flip. Some of y'all have a real bad connotation about fix and flippers, and I know especially in my hometown of Paragould, Arkansas, my girlfriend was telling me that, you know, everybody hates fix and flippers. Well, I don't understand that. And I know there are slumlords, obviously, you know, and that's not what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of times these fix and flippers will come into a community and they'll see an area in town that's really has gone down in value and really looks bad. And what they will do is they'll come in there and try and buy those houses one at a time and doll those up, lipstick and rouge, make them beautiful, and that improves the value of that community and in that neighborhood. And what part of that is bad, you know? And again, they have a couple of options. One, they might fix and flip it, where they fix the property and then they turn around and sell it to an end buyer at retail. That means a homeowner is going to be in that property. They might decide to buy and hold and put the home up and rent to a renter, a tenant. They're going to get a better quality tenant in there because the home is nicer now and the property value is nicer. Or they might just want to cash out. And what that means is after they have bought the house, they have used money to fix the house, there should be an equity piece in there. So they should, if they bought right, there should be profit margin built into that. So let's just say if they bought something for $100, they spent $30, so they've got $130,000 in the property, and let's say hypothetically that the property now is worth $200,000. Well, there's $50,000 worth of property of equity right there that they could possibly go to the bank and they could pull that out, and that would be their profit, and they would still own that property. So there's a lot of different techniques that one could use to be a real estate investor. But again, personally, I just really love this fractionally funding real estate. And it's just kind of funny because I remember my dad telling me years ago that he was helping to fund some spec houses there in Jonesboro or in Valley View, somewhere in there. And he said, man, this is the easiest money I've ever made. All I have to do is give them cash. They build the house, they sell it, and then when it's all done, they just simply give me back my money. He said, so it's wonderful, you know. It's wonderful. And hey, Janice, yeah, they've done that here also in Pensacola, downtown Pensacola. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. Beautiful what they've done down there, and they just continually improve that. Hello, Nancy Johnson. Oh my goodness. Can't wait to come home and give you a hug. We've not seen you in such a long time. Hope you guys are doing great. But anyways, it's just like I said, this is easy, and I am really wanting to do some traveling before my mom gets any worse off with her, you know, dementia. And in order to do that, I've got to free up my time. I can't be on the computer 24/7 working, you know, physically working. So I'm trying to get myself in a position, which you should as well, where we can just put our money to work. And sometimes you don't have a lot of extra money to put to work. And that's why I started this program out for, you know, as little as $20 a month. It's going to give you a taste. It's going to let you get in there, get involved, see what's going on, and hopefully that'll encourage you to get your finances in a little bit better shape so that you can put a little bit more money involved. And right now for us, the sponsorships are $20, $30, $50, and $100 a month. So that should, cover just about anybody's budget that wanted to get in. And these properties are going to be all over, the United States right now, nowhere else, not outside the United States. But if you're watching this and you're outside the United States, you can participate also as a sponsor. The way I've got this set up, anybody worldwide can do it, perfectly legal and all of that stuff. And basically what happens is I put it together, I do it, and then for every dollar that I earn in interest, 90% of that is split equitably among all the sponsors. And that way it's kind of like an earn as you learn type thing. Everybody sees what I'm doing, and then they get a piece of the action. So I hope this kind of gives you a little bit better overview on fix and flips as well as investors, so that you can get that bad taste out of your mouth. Bad investors are not bad people, and I'm sure there are, just like anything else out there, but I just want to clear that up. Those who go in, I admire those people who can go in and fix and flip and make money that way. It's hard, y'all, to find the properties and to be able to have the talent and put that together. But those that can do it, they make a lot of money, but they're very smart. And like I said, don't be offended. Now, some of them will come in and try and lowball you. And, I don't necessarily agree with that technique, but you know what? If they get 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 100, they're probably doing pretty good financially, because you never know. Somebody may be in a bad situation, maybe going through a divorce, had a death in the family. They got a job offer somewhere else and they're just really needing to sell, and they've got a lot of equity in their home, and so they can afford to give up a little bit of that and let an investor buy that. So anyways, I hope y'all have a wonderful Friday, and I will see y'all soon.